kicking us off into the next session, our Lifting Up Local poster series. And so can the people in the room who have posters raise their hands? Yay! So on the list of things that you cannot do on Zoom is gather in a room and talk to each other and ask, dynamic questions with the people around you. I have wanted to do this for 6 years. You are making my dreams come true today. Thank you so much for that. I hope it is enjoyable for you all as it is for me. I'm super jacked about this. But first I want to talk a little bit about community engagement and why we're thinking about this. So just to set the scene, I've been working at HMHB for about 7.5 years now. I started as a student and was working in a practicum placement and then moved into a permanent role. And one of my most honoring, fulfilling parts of my role at Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies has been getting to witness the incredible number of local level activists, supporters, incredibly dogged individuals who do this work on a daily basis in community, shoulder to shoulder, year after year. So I want everyone to know that the people that I dedicate this segment to are the people who have shown me, not told me, what community engagement looks like. It is the thing that fills my cup. I am so lucky I found it in my life, and I'm so excited to be able to share this here with you all. So my folks in the Montana Early Childhood Coalition, and the folks in the Montana Home Visiting Coalition, and all of our local perinatal mental health coalitions and parental mental health coalitions, yes. There are some real champions of this work in this room, and yes, Callie, please give them a round of applause. There are some of them in this room, and they're outstanding individuals. So, with that, we'll get a little nerdy about it. I'm sure many of you saw, I think this was actually just a few weeks ago, that Dr. Vivek Murthy, the U.S. Surgeon General, issued a health statement warning advisory. Not good. If the Surgeon General is talking about it, we've got some problems. So, parents under pressure, the U.S. Surgeon General's advisory on the mental health and well-being of parents. So the idea of this advisory document, which I want to encourage you all to go out and find, it's extremely accessible. It is not super long, it is well cited, it is clear and concise, and the idea is our parents are not okay. So they're looking to call out the importance of parental stress, mental health, and the bi-directional relationship between parental mental health and child outcomes, right? That dyad. We know that it's a dance, that there's always this dyadic element to the folks that we're working with. It is not one individual within that family, and it's rarely ever just two, right? There is a whole system that we're working with. But when we're focusing in and thinking about some of that dyadic energy between, mom-baby pairs, and then within the relationship, if there is spouses, supporting partners, and different things, and then even that larger family dynamic, right? Emphasis on the dyadic nature of this. That is notable because it hasn't always been emphasized and called out for what it is. So the things that they found, they kind of went through and talked about the different ways that they're seeing parents are struggling. So financial strain, economic instability, and poverty. Check, check, check. Yeah, not a surprise to anybody in this room, right? Time demands. You're never going to be able to drop the kid off when you have to pick the other one up and make it to work, and also make sure that that grocery pickup order happens on time. Consistently feeling jammed. Children's health. If your kids aren't healthy, that's an extreme stressor, also not a surprise. Child safety. Thinking about, is my kid safe on a day-to-day basis when they go to school, when they go to church, when they come home? Where are my kids safe and where are they not? Consistent, right? And then parental isolation and loneliness. And I do not think, this is the one thing I would say that report fails to do, is tie that parental isolation and loneliness straight back into the next one in technology and social media. It's great that they're calling those things out, but I think there could have been a stronger leak at that space. And then cultural pressures in your children's future. Again, let's tie that right back to social media. What do we all think we should be doing? How many different activities should those kids be in? Am I supposed to be breastfeeding? Am I supposed to be supplementing? All of those different things that are constantly churning as soon as you enter the conversation. One of the things that I really respect about this presentation is that they called out this report is that they called out perinatal mental health in a very clear way. The leading cause of pregnancy-related deaths is mental health conditions, more than 20%, including from suicide and overdose or poisoning related to substance use. If you're ever writing a grant report, if you're ever wondering, how do I tell my boss this is why we do our thing, go back to that. That lands with every single person, and I just don't think it gets told or said enough outside of these rooms right here. So they talked a little bit about the impacts of social determinants of health. So this study is out of a recent Health Affairs issue back in April of 2024. Health Affairs, it's this awesome journal, journal that compiles lots of health-related articles. They did a whole special one on perinatal mental health. And I would recommend that everybody go out and find that as well. It's an incredible resource, and some generous donors made it free $99 for all of us to access. Also, we'll plug that Dr. Amy Stiffarm and HMHB folks, we've got an article in there. But even beyond that, it's an incredible resource. So one of the studies in there from Blebu et al. Talked about among a diverse population of pregnant folks with a perinatal mood or anxiety disorder or a severe mental illness. They are more likely to experience co-occurring social determinants, including socioeconomic, substance use, and interpersonal areas of social determinants of health. The rates of co-occurrence in all of these social determinants of health issues are indicative of the chronicity of chronic stressors. They're showing that they build upon one another, and that building is actually starting in early childhood, calling us all right back to ACEs. Just a quick ask, how many people in this room are familiar with ACEs? Great. Are there any people that use the ACE questionnaire in the work that they do with folks? Awesome. Okay, great. So we're really thinking about, what happens to you in childhood impacts your adult health outcomes. That's not it doesn't seem to be a surprising or new concept at this point. But one of the things that this talks about is the limitations of healthcare settings to address social determinants of health comprehensively and alone. This is not something we can lay at the feet of the medical provider system and care system. This is something that we know is going to be best done in systems of community-based organizations and those that are coming alongside and are invited into medical settings. Just want to emphasize that. Additionally, we're not going to treat our way out of this. We don't have enough providers. We don't have enough access. But we do have different things that we can do in order to bring in supports right now and to improve outcomes right now. So these are back to that Surgeon General's report, some of these things about what we do about it. They broke down these top 4, the general ideas of what we do about it, and then they went through, and I think this was really wise, they broke it down into, I think it's 5 different sectors, and I'm gonna call out 2 of them, so solutions and what we do about it. One of those is our health and social service professionals, so we're thinking about our clinics, our FQHCs, our hospitals, all the incredible supports that we have across the state. And one of the things I talked about, which was screening, we've talked a little bit about that. And then fostering partnerships with community organizations that provide support and resources for parents and caregivers. So fostering those partnerships. I'm trying to hint, this might be what we're doing today. The next sector that we're talking about, communities and community organizations. So when we say communities and communities organizations, think about local level coalitions. And then those community organizations within this, I absolutely include our public health systems that are working and operating at that local level. What are we thinking about those tribal health systems that are working and operating at that community, local reservation level? getting these kinds of, this broad community provider voice integrated and voice and supports integrated into the system is really important. So things that we can do: equip parents and caregivers with resources to address parental stress. I just would be in trouble with all of my coworkers if I didn't tell you, check out LIFT's online resource guide. I think there is some capacity for basically every person in this room to be listed on there as an individual or as part of your organization. These are the things that people are looking for. We've tried to create this statewide online resource guide. It's not novel that it's statewide. It's not novel that it's, a resource guide. And it's not novel that it's online. But it is something that is really tailored to both parents and caregivers. Use it yourselves in making your referrals and get yourself listed, please. So create opportunities to cultivate supportive social connections. We've heard mentioned throughout the day about different kinds of support groups and folks that are convening them at different times throughout that perinatal space to be able to, build community for folks. Thinking about those. I want to expand that idea of the group setting into community events. So think about, the annual Easter egg hunt that you have in your community. Think about the annual parades or harvest festivals, all of those different things. Those things create a sense of connection and community and belonging. That's incredibly important to both children and adults. What are the ways in which we are doing that already? Because a lot of you are already doing that. Elevating the voices of parents and caregivers, those lived experience, helping them to shape the programs that we make, and then strengthen and establish school-based support programs as well. What's that continuum? Not very many people in Montana work with a very small age range, right? We often end up working with supports along the continuum. So one of the things, coming back to that community event piece, is focus and grow the positive. I want to lift up this idea from Dr. Christina Bethel and some of her research partners, that positive childhood experiences. So how many people are familiar with positive childhood experiences? Okay, a little bit less. We're going to fix that. There is this idea that, adversity in youth is something that impacts your adult health outcomes. We are now finding in research that the positive experiences actually impact what happened in those adult health outcomes, and might be doing so even more than some of those adversities. Like, that's a beautiful, wonderful thought. So eliminating risks is not enough to protect children. Children without any social or relational health risks assessed have 71% lower odds of demonstrating good nervous system, emotion, and behavior regulation if they also lack stronger child-parent connections. Building stronger child-parent connections is a protective factor. We've known that for a long time, and this is a room full of people who are doing that every single day. So if you're not familiar, here's like a cute little graphic about positive childhood experiences. There are 7 of them. They're also referred to, there's a lot of similar science. The science of flourishing is something that's along these same lines. You can also look at hope, so health outcomes from positive experiences. All of this emerging research is very, very similar and aligned. They use different words, but what we're all finding is that we've been underestimating the power of the positive to be able to support kids and families all along the way. And thinking about this through any door approach, the dream here is that we have community access or community-based access points and healthcare access points, and they are well connected. And that no matter where that family walks through the door, picks up the phone and calls, they are about to be, engaged by a full system and not a single person or an entity. What a great hope, what a great idea. And I can't think of a better set of people to help build that than the folks here in this room. So with that, I will break us all, just 8 minutes late, I'm so sorry. And move us all into the Lifting Up Local poster party. So the posters, there's a smattering of them in this room, along with all of our wonderful exhibitors. Check out the exhibitors. We've got Northwest Montana Milk Bank, Cover Montana, as well as quite a few other exhibitors. Go get some good information and connections there, and then peruse around some of these posters, and they're just, I think they're all out in the hallway, and then and some out in this place. What we're hoping people will do is engage in conversation and question during this time.